Hello everybody and welcome, I am Bricker Boom, and we're continuing with Kanto here to do a challenge with a Pokemon that I never had the patience to level up as a child. Today, we're going to see if I can absolutely, with no doubt in my mind, beat the game Pokemon FireRed with only a Dragonite. Dragonite is a pseudo-legendary dragon type, and there won't be much of a worry of anything being super effective until we get to Lorelei. We have a jacked up attack stat, so I'm very excited to see how this is going to be. We do give the rival, of course, Charmander, but it doesn't really matter who he has, since Blastoise doesn't learn ice moves with him, Charizard doesn't learn dragon moves with him, and Venusaur would probably just get demolished. With our particular Dragonite, he has Inner Focus, which will prevent flinching, but truthfully, it's not the best ability out there. There are very few Pokemon that we're going to go against that actually have flinch-inducing moves. The only one I can think of is Giovanni when he has his Kangaskhan. We have a hardy nature, which means neutral stat gains, but I'm totally okay with that given the fact that Dragonite is going to be stellar no matter where he goes. For the beginning lab battle, we know Wrap, Leer, Thunderwave, and Twister, which for our usual type of challenges, having 4 moves right out the gate, it's kind of amazing. We're used to having 1. We use Twister and take it to almost half, then take it to red as we tank a few scratches before it goes down. The beginning of the game is pretty easy, though of course we do level up some through the beginning of the game off some wild Pokemon. When it comes to a particular rule set, the main ones are no items in battle, and only being able to use Dragonite in battle. We do allow rare candy glitches to be able to actually complete the game, but that's about it. Rather than going through Viridian Forest first, we make a beeline for the optional rival fight, using Twister, which doesn't do the most damage, but I guarantee it's more accurate and more damage than what Wrap could do. We do take a sand attack to the face, which pays off instantly for the rival, but it also misses its own attack, so we can go ahead and finish off with Wrap. We level up and then swap back over to Twister. Due to a crit and a couple misses, due to the sand attack, the battle is far closer than I thought that it would be, but at the end of the day, a win is a win. Now we'll take the chance to go through Viridian Forest, leveling up a few times along the way. Without much of a problem, likely due to the fact that Twister is a Dragon-type move and not resisted by the Rock Pokemon the Junior Trainer has, it's time to fight Brock in no time at all. Geodude is the first up, and we're somewhat underleveled for once, but we can take it to half with Twister as it uses Defense Curl. Thankfully, after that, it goes down to another Twister, and we level up for Onix. We continue with Twister, taking it to not quite half as Rock Tomb does a good bit of damage and lowers our speed. We get tackled for not much damage, then take it to red as we get hit with another weak tackle before taking it down. With the first gym done, we can start making our way to Cerulean City and going into Mount Moon. Along the way, I took the Dome Fossil. I know that... I've been watching a lot of Madry Bread recently. On a real note though, if you do like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've been doing challenge runs for a little over a year now, and while we definitely specialize in the Kanto region, we've made sure to hit up Hoenn, Johto, Unova once or twice, so there should be something for just about everyone. We're also branching out with our content into the podcast that we're doing and our reaction content, so hit the like and subscribe button, tell a friend, bully your peers into watching me. Yeah, I'm sure you know what to do. Now that we're in Cerulean, the rival starts with Pidgeotto, and we get hit with Quick Attack before taking about a third of its health with Twister. We can take it to yellow and get hit with Gust before taking it down. Rattata hits us with Quick Attack upon entering and goes to yellow before also going down with a critical hit that was definite overkill. Charmander is up next, so we continue with the twist as Metal Claw hits for a little bit of damage. Another Twister takes it to red, and we actually cause a flinch, allowing us to take it down as well. Last up is Abra, who we can take to yellow. It can't use Teleport, and then it too goes down. With the rival out of the way, we can go ahead, go to the route above, and along with it, we get some level ups. We send out Puff and open with Twister, taking out Staryu with a well-placed critical hit. Next up is Starmie, and we get hit with Swift for not a lot of damage and take it to almost half. Twister takes Starmie to yellow, and it only hits us with Swift again, rather than recovering or potioning like Misty usually seems to do, so then it goes down. With 2 gyms down and a lot more game to go, we head to the ship, though this time around, we don't have to fight through the entirety of the ship. Given the fact that Dragonite is a pseudo-legendary, I didn't think we would. We do end up making sure to take care of a few of the trainers, mostly to get the items that we want. We do, however, get to challenge the rival pretty much immediately, and with that, it's time for a battle. The rival starts with Pidgeotto, and we, well, you guessed it, open up with Twister, taking it below half. We do get Sand attacked, and then Quick attacked, but we do take it down. Raticate is next, so we miss with Twister, getting hit with Hyper Fang, and then miss again, getting hit with Tail Whip. We finally connect, taking a hard Hyper Fang before swapping over to Dragon Rage, and missing as Hyper Fang takes us to 31 HP before we connect. Kadabra is next, and we swap back to Twister, taking it to low yellow as Confusion does a small bit of damage, and then he goes down. Charmeleon is last, and we get hit all the way down to 14 HP before finally taking him down and barely winning this battle. Sand Attack. It's incredibly powerful when the enemy uses it, and yet when we use it, the enemy never seems affected. Anyway, we have to go defeat the Trash Can puzzle, and then after that, it's time to fight Surge. Surge sends out Voltorb, and we open up a Twister, taking it to low yellow as Sonic Boom does its set damage. We swap over to Dragon Rage, knowing it likely has less than 40 HP at this state to guarantee the KO. Next up is Pikachu, and we use Twister, taking it out in one shot, and not having to worry about the paralysis. Last but not least is Raichu, and we use Twister, taking about a third of its health as we get hit with Thunder Wave. Raichu double teams, and we swap over to Dragon Rage for guaranteed damage, and thankfully it connects, and that lets us take it out. After this, we do have some travel, but it's time for the game to open up. We grab a few potential TMs for later on down the road and level up along the way with some random trainers. And the battle against Giovanni, well, it isn't much of a battle if we're being honest. We have Water Pulse, and that allows us to take down the Onix and the Rhyhorn with a single shot each. The only Pokemon that is even remotely a concern is Kangaskhan. We get faked out, but Inner Focus prevents the flinching, and we use Thunder Wave to paralyze it. We swap over to Water Pulse, and it isn't doing much. However, Mega Punch actually is doing some decent damage. We swap over to Twister, and we get Tail Whipped, swapping back to Water Pulse, hoping for the Confusion, which we do end up getting. However, naturally, it doesn't actually smack itself, but all it does is bite us, so that we can take it to red. It spends the next turn paralyzed, and then it goes down. This time around, I actually remember to go fight Erika, rather than go running back to Lavender Town. For this particular battle, I think we'll be alright for the most part. Paralysis could be a rough bout with no access to flying moves just yet. But if a Pokemon is too much of a problem, we can get Ice Beam, since we know we might need that against Lance. Probably, maybe, I don't know. Erika first starts out with Victory Bell, and we open with Twister. Bet you're tired of hearing that by now. Stun Spore misses, and we use Twister again, taking it to red and flinching it. Erika does heal up to full, but it does at the very least allow us to get a free hit, which is a critical hit, so it's right back to red. Then it goes down. Tangela is next, and it's not as tanky as Victory Bell. It immediately goes to red, misses Poison Powder, and then gets knocked out. The last Pokemon she has is Vileplume, and Twister takes about a fourth of its health, and we finally get hit with Stun Spore. Acid is basically chip damage, and we begin trading attacks back and forth, getting our defense lowered. Erika does end up landing some good hits, and we're down to 87 HP before it goes down. Not necessarily a danger, and with that, 4th badge obtained. Now we can head back to the tower and fight the rival. The rival starts with Pidgeotto, and we start with Water Pulse, taking it below half and confusing it immediately. Pidgeotto smacks itself, and we finish it off with Water Pulse. Gyarados is next, and we swap over to the 1996 movie of Storm Chasers, taking it to almost half and then taking it to red as it uses Thrash before going down. Next up is Execute, and we continue with the blockbuster of a move, taking it out in one shot. Next up, we have Kadabra, and we can take it down in one shot. And then finally, it's Charmeleon, and we use Water Pulse, taking it down and winning the battle. Which, not much of a surprise, because this battle always kind of seemed out of place. It's super easy. I don't know why, but anyway. With 4 gyms out of the way and the hardest part of the tower completed, I have to say, Dragonite is great. The only issue with it is how long it takes you to get from that Dragonair to Dragonite form. Starting with a Dragonite, the main issue is the moveset, but taking a look at even Dratini's moveset, that's pretty common for all three forms. We still have one move to look forward to, assuming we have to level up that far, and that's Outrage. A very powerful move, and one I never get to use. And now, we can head to Fuchsia, do the Safari Zone, and more importantly, make our way to Koga's gym. Koga first sends out Coughing, and we open up with a return, taking it to yellow, then taking it out. Muck uses Acid Armor, and we use a few returns as Koga heals up. Unfortunately, we can't out-damage him, given how bulky he is, and for the first time in this run, we actually end up going down. We can sometimes make it to Wheezing through a few different attempts, but ultimately, if we get poisoned, or they affect their own accuracy, or our accuracy too much, we're just not able to win the battle. So what we do is we head to Saffron City and into Silphco, because there's plenty of battles in there, and an easy way to get a couple level ups. But before we head back to Koga, we might as well see how we do against the rival. The rival opens up with Pidgeot, and we open with Shockwave, taking it down in 2 shots. Gyarados is almost a one-shot, and with Charizard, we just spam Water Pulse. Thankfully, we only take 1 hit from Flamethrower before we take it down. With Execute, we nail it with a critical hit to take it down, and Alakazam only sets up Future Sight before going down for a pretty easy second try victory. The first attempt, we did end up getting paralyzed, so we went down, but avoiding that this time made for a pretty easy battle. But hey, no time to focus on that victory because we have a Giovanni fight to go to pretty much right after. Giovanni starts with Nidorino, and we critical hit it with Water Pulse to take it down. Rhyhorn goes down next, and Kangaskhan, it just doesn't bother attacking, so it also goes down pretty easily. Last up is Nidoqueen, and we can take it down easily enough to finish up with Silphco, and then head to Sabrina looking for another easy win. And an easy win is what we're able to get. Not much of a recap here, since every Pokemon is kind enough to get knocked out by a single return. That makes that simple enough. Let's head back to Koga for revenge. With his first Coughing, it immediately explodes in our face with only a sliver of HP after our opening attack, and we can take down the Muck in 2 returns. There is a bit of back and forth healing with the Coughing, but then we can take it down too. The last up is Wheezing, and we trade attacks back and forth, and we're getting whittled down quickly, taking us down to 27 HP before it gets knocked out, and let us move on. On the way to Cinnabar, and in the gym, we don't worry about the riddles this time around. What we do is we just go ahead and bulldoze our way through the trainers. So let's see how we do against Blade. Now, given the fact that Blade has 2 Pokemon with Intimidate, we rely on Water Pulse. And despite Water Pulse usually being out of its usefulness by now, we absolutely steamroll through his team. And that was a bit easier than I thought it was going to be. Giovanni loses his Kangaskhan, which makes this easier, and his first 3 Pokemon go down to a single Water Pulse each. Nidoqueen only hits us for a little before going down, and the same can be said about Nidoking. I didn't think Dragonite would have this strong of a mid to late game, but you're not going to hear me complain. We have one more rival fight before the Elite Four, so let's see if we can add another simple victory to our challenge. Pidgeot goes down to 2 returns, only hitting a soft attack. Next up is Gyarados, and now that we've gained some good leveling, we can take it down in 1 shot. The Rhyhorn is of course a 1-shot, and with Execute, we can take it to half as it paralyzes us. It does now outspeed, but it gains energy for Solar Beam, and that allows us to take it out, thankfully not being fully paralyzed. Alakazam sets up Calm Mind, and we critical hit it with Return to take it out. Not completely sure if that mattered or not. With Charizard, it's hammering us with Flamethrower attacks, and thankfully, we're not spending too many turns paralyzed, because if we did, this would be a loss. Charizard takes us all the way down to 5 HP before we finally land the knockout blow to win the battle. Sometime soon, I may have to see if I can keep a Dragonair alive long enough with hardcore Nuzlocke rules. For me personally, I typically allow at least 1 Game Corner Pokemon, since that's the only way to obtain those particular ones. Oh, and during all of this, if you wanted to take a quick peek at the screen, I'm not gonna bother covering the attempts against Lorelei, given the fact that we are 4 times weak to ice and she has a multitude of ice moves, or at least ice beam. You can see here we're getting absolutely wrecked. We have to get up to level 65, and we open with Thunderbolt. Thankfully, it only sets up Safeguard, so we're able to take it down without a hassle. Slowbro gets taken to red, and only sets up Amnesia, so that lets us take it out. Next up is Jinx, and given the fact that it's pretty frail, we swap over to Return and hit it hard to take it out of one shot. Lapras is next, so we can take it below half, and we get hit with Confuse Ray. We get taken down to 27 HP with Ice Beam, but thankfully, we can take it out with a Thunderbolt. Last up is Cloyster, and it always loves to waste time with Protect, but thankfully, it's slow, doesn't get to attack, and then we can take it down and finally get to move on. That was rough, but on to Bruno. Bruno starts out with Onyx, and we can take it down with Surf. Hitmonchan only misses its attack, so we can take it out in 2 hits. The Machamp is a critical hit, so it goes down in 1 shot. Hitmonlee is typically frailer than Hitmonchan, so we can take it out. Bruno has 1 final Onyx, and that goes down to 1 more Surf, so we're able to move on without any issue whatsoever. Next up is Agatha, and this takes a few attempts due to Hypnosis and Nightmare Luck, but about 5 attempts in, we get this. Gengar is first and goes down to 2 Thunderbolts, and Golbat goes down to 1. With Arbok, we continue Thunderbolting, and then with the next Gengar, we swap over to Outrage, getting hit hard with Sludge Bomb, and thankfully, what happens is Outrage lasts long enough to take out the Gengar and the last Haunter to win the battle. Lance starts with Gyarados, who goes down to Thunderbolt. We swap over to Outrage for the Dragonair, but we end up getting fatigued by the time the Dragonite comes out. Thankfully, we don't get punished and continue to use Outrage, but when Aerodactyl comes out, it hits hard with Ancient Power, and then we smack ourselves in the face for a knockout. This battle takes a few attempts, mostly just trying to get the Outrage luck to line up. It's a risky move, but we do end up landing a decent roll for RNG, and this time for Aerodactyl, rather than using Outrage, it's worn off by now, so we can swap over to Surf. We can take it to red repeatedly, and we're barely hanging on, but we finally land another hit, taking it down, and winning against the Lance using his own Dragon typing. With a heal up, an elixir to regain some PP, we can go ahead and see how we do against the rival. Pidgeotto's first, so we can take it out with Thunderbolt, and do the same to Gyarados. We swap over to Surf for Rhydon, and with Alakazam it likes to set up Barrier, so our physical attacks are doing a lot less. It's mostly just trying to find out which move will do the most damage when he does this, and we can take it down after a bit longer of back and forth than I would have thought we would have. Execute puts us to sleep and begins pelting us with Egg Bomb after Egg Bomb, and at 50 HP we wake up, and Outrage is enough to do the job. With Charizard, we hit it with Outrage, then get hit with Flamethrower down to 15 HP. We're confused, but we don't smack ourselves and take it down with Thunderbolt, winning the battle and the run. That run was a lot of fun. I knew Dragonite would be able to win this because, obviously, of course he would. Getting to use some Dragon moves, which I rarely get to use, was also a lot of fun. Not 100% sure what I'm going to be doing next week, given the fact that I'm writing this just a few days before the video posts. If I had to guess, I'll probably do some fully evolved or middle stage Pokemon runs for a little bit. We've done a lot of first form evolutions when we first started this channel, and I want to see how much better they perform. But I do kind of need your help. How would you like to see that? Do you want to see a timer, or just compare the level and in-game time? Lastly, if you want to support me outside of Twitch and YouTube, check out the Patreon, or don't. Like and subscribe for more, and, as always, if you liked the video, even if you didn't like the video, hit the like and subscribe button, because it does help me out. And until next time, everybody, peace out.